Hi everybody, very good afternoon. Welcome to our daily class, which happens from Tuesday to Friday on reading comprehension. We have discussed reading comprehension in many ways. We have solved more than, I think, 28, 29 reading comprehensions online thus far, which is a huge number. And all those questions were asked in either of the very important management test prep test which happened in India, and they were all from very good level of questions. We discussed questions and passages and ways and methods to solve them in great detail. Not only that, we tried to look at solving reading comprehension from various areas such as central idea, primary purpose, how to make summaries, how to last session on Friday we discussed on how to analyze one's mistake, how to create a chart of your mistakes, and how to keep a track of them, at least one mistake a day, so that you know which kind of passage, which kind of question, which kind of option you're going wrong, and why you're going wrong, and what steps you can take to manage your mistakes. And not only that, we have discussed reading comprehension from the type also, that the type of reading comprehension is philosophy, type of RCs is finance. So we're doing all sort of things. Today we will solve important reading comprehension which came in CAT itself. CAT 2017, a reading comprehension came. We are going to discuss that. All right. And we're going to solve it live in front of us, in front of everybody. So welcome everybody. So sorry, was getting a burp. You know, this is Just Cat channel and we are doing a lot of hard work. We implore upon you to subscribe to Just Cat, like our videos, share them. And you know that my name is Anupam. Like this is the 4th week I'm coming live on YouTube, and I'm taking classes. So help yourself by staying in touch and downloading Academy app. Go to Plus, go to Cat, go to and then subscribe. Go to one of these 5 offerings which we offer. Anything more than 12 months makes sense from the pricing standpoint, and from the standpoint that that anything more than 6 months, that is 12 months and 24 months, is going to be helpful for you. You can use my code Saxena10 to get 10% discount as well. So this will not only help you in getting premium content, test series, there are lots of classes, doubt solving sessions, so many faculties, and explanation for every question, and then your analysis of how you're doing in every test paper. So so much so for this less amount. With a code Saxena10, you will validate me, or you say you will get a discount of 10% off by using this code. And yep, help yourself and sort of help us also motivate and validate us also, so that we bring in good quality content in front of you, free of cost for everybody. So yeah. So reading comprehension we've discussed from various angles. Just 2-3 points here, and then we'll quickly go to solving of a live question in live RC in front of you, and we'll discuss why this particular option is correct, why it is not correct. Just let me see if it's coming all right. One moment. Let me just see if yeah, I think I'm coming all right. So it's coming all right. Yeah. So yeah, so just 2-3 more points, and we'll actually go to solving a actual CAT live question on live. That question came in 2017. Just few points that, see what happens that sometimes questions will be like, the questions and the options will be like, they want to see whether you can identify a topic or an option or a statement or an inference which cannot be made on the basis of the information presented in the reading comprehension. So in this way, they also test your ability to, your active reading skills, your ability to form a pattern or a map of the questions or of the data given in the passage, and that you are able to take a call, you are able to answer the question, you're able to take some steps based on the information given. And if an information is not given, if an inference cannot be drawn, if something cannot be understood, then you should be able to point out, yeah, this information or this inference or this data was not given in the passage. So sometimes question may test you something that cannot be explained by the passage. Second is that you have to eliminate improbable options as well. All right, so you will have to strike off those options which are not possible, which are too far-fetched. Remember, you've done a class on wrong options. So wrong options are any option which is far-fetched from the data given, any option which is contrary, any option which is half correct, half wrong, any option which is half irrelevant, half relevant, any option which is half relevant, half wrong, half relevant, half incorrect. Okay, or say half relevant but half incorrect. So all these sort of pump and and an option which is in which certain adverb or adjective has been used to either present the data present the information in a flavor which is either very reduced or very heightened with respect to the information or the date or the understanding which we arrive by reading the passage. So something says that the particular character was unhappy or sad, but the option says that the particular character was extremely depressed or extremely sad, so this usage of words, or it says that he was, so basically wherever you see that there is a certain amount of coloring of facts, the facts are painted in a certain way which is not corroborating, which is not conforming to the information given in the passage. So that sort of understanding you have to develop. How? Same thing, reading a passage, making short notes, and having a central idea or creating a central idea or a primary purpose, and then coming back to the questions and trying to solve them. So that sort of yeah. Now the point is that somewhere so this is the thing. So if you are able to make a summary of every paragraph, if you're able to make an overall summary of the passage or a central idea or primary purpose of the entire piece given, then you will be able to answer the questions. Also, if there is some data, right, which you might have missed, it's a small data point which you might have missed in making an overall summary, then you can always go back and you can refer. Okay, again, remember, I've also discussed that if sometimes you feel that you're blocked, you're not able to answer this particular question, or you're not able to assess a particular piece of the passage, you can always take a small short break and you can come back, or 15 seconds or 20 seconds or half a minute. You can go to the next question, or you can go to some other part of the question paper when you feel that your blocks are moving away, you feel relaxed and calm, you can again come back to the question and you can try and solve it. So in this way, you can sort of manage it. Also, like I said, solving n number of RCs. Remember, we've discussed also about that solving RCs, solving n number of RCs from various backgrounds, from various genres, solving various kinds of question and analyzing your wrong answers, understanding why you marked them, and then taking a course correction in your preparation strategy and your attempt in a strategy in attempting. And so when you will read why you mark the wrong answer, and you will see you will understand why you marked the wrong answer and why the answer is correct, immediately that over a course of time, over a period of time, you will develop a certain skill or sense of marking the right answer. All right, and you'll get into that habit of assessing. Also, it is not always required for you to mark all the answers or answer all the questions. It is okay if you don't answer some questions. It is absolutely all right. Anyways, 24 to 25 questions, if you do correctly, that is very good. So basically, if you attempt out of 34, you leave a few questions unattempted only if you feel that they are doubtful, if you are not sure about them. Even after rereading and attempting them and rereading them n number of times, then you can sort of understand probably that's a limitation, and you can leave few questions there, but try and attempt as many questions as possible correctly with confidence in the given time frame. For that, you have to do so many mock test, sectional test, and practice test. So let's just start our RC here. What our RC says that, yeah. So this came in CAT 2017. It's a long one, but it's not very difficult to solve. Let's start reading it. Understanding where you are in the world is a basic survival skill, which is why, like most species, come hardware with specialized brain areas to create cognitive maps of our surroundings. Where humans are unique, though, with possible exception of honeybees, is that we try to communicate this understanding of the world with others. So they're saying that most of the species have this native ability to understand where they are right now, and then navigation, their ability to have maps, and their ability to go to a place and then come back. But humans, as well as honeybees, has this unique ability to communicate the understanding with others. We have a long history of doing this by drawing maps. The earliest version yet discovered were scrawled on cave waves 14,000 years ago. Human cultures have been drawing them on stone tablets, papyrus, paper, and now computer screens ever since. So the oldest maps go back to 14,000 years. Then comes, given such a long history of human map making, it is perhaps surprising that it is only within the last few hundred years that the North has been consistently considered to be at the top. In fact, for much of the human history, the North almost never appeared at the top. According to Jerry Broughton, a map historian, North was really put up at the top for the simple fact that North is where darkness comes from. He says, West is also very likely to be put at the top because West is where the sun disappears. So what they're saying that there was this So for the most of the history, it was very surprising that we're making maps for such a long time, but still North was never placed at the top, and also West was not placed at the top, because from North was from where the darkness came, and West is from where the sun is where the sun sort of sun used to set sunsets every day. So from north, the darkness rises, and in the west, the sun descends. So these two places were never considered to be the top of the. So that means probably east and south were. So let's read how this happened. This is my understanding, but let's not again my assumption. Let's read that east and south were given preference. Next case, confusing early Chinese maps seem to buck this trend. But Broughton says even though they did have compasses at time, that isn't the reason that they placed north at the top. Early Chinese compasses were actually oriented to point south, which was considered to be more desirable than deepest darkest north. But in Chinese maps, so let's say confusingly, early Chinese maps seem to buck this trend. So they're saying that Chinese map were not following this trend of keeping that north is not at the top, but no, Chinese maps north was at the top. But they say that they did have compasses, but that was not a reason why they placed north at the top. They used it because early Chinese compasses were actually oriented to point south, which was considered to be more desirable than darkest north. But in Chinese maps, so compasses were pointing towards south. They were making all the same mistake that south is, north is where the darkness comes, so south should be pointed. But maps were done because the emperor who lived in the north of the country was always put at the top of the map. So the emperor used to live in the north of the country. So the emperor was always placed in the northern side of the map. But on the north side will be the top because the emperor lives there. Always put at the top, with everyone else, his loyal subject, looking up towards him. So all the subjects used to look towards him. So the Chinese emperor used to be at the north, and north used to be at the top because it's where the emperor used to stay, and everybody used to look at the emperor. In Chinese culture, emperor looks south because it's where the winds come from. It is a good direction. North is not very good, but you are in position of subjection to emperor, so you look up to him. So looking at south was considered good, and Chinese emperor used to do it because it's where the winds came from. North is not very good, not a very good position, but you are looking at the emperor, so you are a subject to him, so you look up to him. Given that each culture has a different idea of what they should look up to, it's perhaps not surprising that there is very little consistency in which the way early maps pointed. So basically, initially we began the past paragraph. If we sum a paragraph this far, initially we came up by saying that we said what? We said that apart from that, sorry, my bad. We said that apart from humans, others did not okay, let it be. I think people can see it properly. So apart from humans, so this part is apart from humans, and bees, others could, other species can navigate without much help. So humans communicate directions. For that matter, even I am very bad at navigation. I also, sort of, I don't get lost, but I sort of forget if I'm moving around a place, I forget where I've come from, so to ask people. So some people are naturally good at navigations, some people are not. Now, first paragraph says this much, that apart from humans, bees and other species can navigate can without help. Okay, without help. So humans communicate directions. Then the next part comes here, that we are making maps for such a long time, but still north is that it's only last few years, that apart from last few 100 years, north was never considered to be at the top of our map, because north, south, east, west, north was never considered to be at the top, basically because north is where the darkness came from, and west because where so north was never considered. That was, so this is where he starts it, and then he says that Chinese maps did not do this for a simple reason. There's a reason that they wanted to respect their emperor. So this part says that Chinese to give respect to the emperor, kept north at the top. Of the maps. Okay, so this was a summary of this. See, look at how I'm making summaries here in 2 minutes. Just by reading, I am just making, see how many lines are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's such big, but if you just distill it in front of you, it'll become such a small thing. All right, this is what I was trying to say for so many days. That okay, then comes confusing early Chinese maps seem to buck this trend. Yeah. Okay, so basically this comment is for this area. Chinese, and here we can say that for most part of the history, north was not at the top of the maps. See, for a given that each culture has a very different idea, of who or what, given that each culture has a very different idea of who or what. So sorry, one moment. Now I think my green cloth has come down. Let me place it back up there. Sorry for that. I didn't mean to disturb you people. Yeah. All right. So given that each culture has a very different idea of who or what they should look up to, it's perhaps not surprising that there is very little consistency in which way early maps pointed. In ancient Egyptian times, top of the world was east, the position of sunrise. So because every culture had a different notion of who or what one must look up to. So basically, so every culture pointed maps in a different way. Egyptians did say tops. So in ancient Egyptian times, world at the top of the world was east, because position of sunrise. So sun rose from east, sun rises from east. So we used so the position of the top of the world was east. Early Islamic maps favored south at the top because most of the early Muslim cultures were north of Mecca. So early Islamic maps, they show that since we're in the north of the Mecca, so Muslims culture was in Muslim culture the top was south, because that's where the Mecca was. So they imagined looking up south towards it. Christian maps from the same era, called Mappa Mundi, put east at the top. So the Christian maps from the same era, called Mappa Mundi, put east at the top towards the Garden of Eden, with Jerusalem in the center. So Christian maps used to have east at the top, like Egyptians did, but Egyptians did because there was a position of sunrise, and there was the Garden of Eden, and Jerusalem was at the center. When did everyone? So this is here that every culture had their own opinion with respect to the direction, to what will come at the top. Some cultures preferred east, others south. So every culture had its own opinion with respect to what will come at the top. Some cultures preferred east, others the south. So it's the east and the south. The directions take a capital, a definitive article, the east, the south. So when did everyone get together and decide what was north, it's tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, who were navigating by the North Star. But Broughton argues that these early explorers did not think of the world like that at all. So they're saying that it appears that some people might quickly argue that those were the the European explorers of the middle of this millennium, of the previous millennium, my bad, around the 15th century, 16th century, the whatever the navigation, 14th century, whatever the early European explorers who went, like Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan, they had this idea that north was at the top. But Broughton, this Mr. Broughton, who has been referred to here a number of times, he says that when Columbus describes the world, it is in accordance with the east being at top. So he's saying that Columbus thinks that east was at the top. Columbus says he is going towards paradise. So he's mentally is from a medieval Mappa Mundi. So his mentality is from a medieval Mappa Mundi. So he is following what was given in the medieval Mappa Mundi, which you, if you remember, which were referring to the Christian maps. Christian maps from the same area, Mappa Mundi, put east at the top, towards the Garden of Eden. So they thought that the garden was at the top, so east is at the top. And so he says that even in the middle of the previous century, previous millennium, European explorers who Columbus has been credited with the discovery of your South America and the entire North America and that entire part of the world, which we also refer to as New World. So people knew about Asia and Eurasia and Africa and in Europe, but they were not aware about that there is another part, landmass, which exists, which is the South America and the North and the entire North America. So this landmass was not known to the rest of the world, because there was a huge sea in between, which we had to conquer, and a huge ocean which nobody had conquered, basically. So basically, Columbus says that he was going towards, when he said he's going towards to the east, he said that east being at the top, and he was going towards a paradise, right? So what he meant the paradise meant eastwards. When Columbus describes the world, it is in accordance with the east being at the top, and Columbus says he is going towards paradise. So his mentality is from medieval Mappa Mundi. So no one knows what they were doing and where they were going. So it says that even the medieval even the explorers like Columbus were not aware of the true directions. He was also guided by the religious maps of the So it says that even the explorers like Columbus were not aware of the true directions. he was also guided by the religious beliefs with respect to the directions. All right. So what is this piece all about? If you can sort of read through the summaries. Apart from humans, bees, other species can navigate without help. Human communicate directions. Next comes, for a very large part of the history, the north was not at the top of the maps. Then comes Chinese, to give respect to the emperor, kept north at the top of the maps. Every culture has its own opinion with respect to what will come at the top. Some cultures prefer the east, others the south. Even explorers like Columbus were not aware of the true direction. He was also guided by the religious beliefs with respect to the direction. So the entire passage, the entire central idea, if you see the passage, is that for a very large period of history, the cultures and even the explorers who have been credited with the exploration of new continents were not completely aware of the true directions. There was a certain amount of ambiguity or miscommunication in their thoughts and in the minds, and the primary purpose of the passage is to talk about it, just to inform us about all this. Which of the following best describes what the passage is trying to do? Yeah. A, it questions on explanation about how maps are designed. No, it is not questioning an explanation about how maps are designed. There was no discussion with respect to, so this is out of scope. It corrects a misconception about the way maps are designed. Okay, so yeah, for a very long time there was a misconception about the north, that north was considered the north for a very long time. So this is basically trying to correct that misconception. This can be correct. It critiques a methodology used to create maps. So there is no critique here, there was no criticism here, and there was not a single methodology which was discussed here. So this is also not correct. It's out of scope. It is too broad. In fact, it is wrong actually. D, it explores some myths about maps. So basically, so it said that it explores some myths about maps. So there was no myths, but what was happening, there was a certain misconception which used to take place, and it is sort of talking about that. Also, if you can also argue it corrects a misconception about the ways maps were designed, but not are designed. So you can also argue that this option is also not a proper, completely correctly formed option here. But the thing is that, like I said, that sometimes you have to ignore the bad options and choose the best one here. Okay, so our part as a test taker is not to criticize the question paper at the moment we are giving. However, we can give them feedback, or we can raise certain concerns, and if a question is badly formed, you will be given a benefit of doubt, irrespective of whatever option or answer you mark. If the exam conducting body, in this case the IIMs, believe that a certain question was ambiguous and the option wasn't as good as it should have been, so a certain amount of benefit will be given. However, the job of a candidate at the time of the answering the paper should be to answer the best. So there was a misconception for a very long time. People used to give honor to that emperor for the natural phenomenon, for the universal truths, because certain religions thought that some certain things should be looking at in a certain direction of their holy places. Hence, the maps were designed in that way. So both the ways, so both the the direction which north should be was not completely scientific. It wasn't until many centuries later on, and a few centuries back itself, that we sort of corrected that north will be at the top. So it corrects a misconception basically. Critique of a particular methodology is incorrect. Myths is also incorrect. An explanation about how maps are designed, this is also incorrect. Next comes, early maps did not put north at the top of all the reasons except so there are some reasons why north was not put at the top. What are those reasons except that? Right, so we have to find something which is not present. Remember, we were discussing here in the RC that we may have to look for something that cannot be explained by the passage. When looking for third option, when looking for no or not questions, as in which of the following is not a reason for something to happen or not happening according to the passage, or not happening according to the passage, we have to eliminate the improbable options, and we have to be ready to be tested on something which cannot be explained by the passage. A says north was a source of darkness.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Yeah, so this was said many times in the passage that north was thought that it's a source of a darkness, where if you come to the second paragraph, last few lines says north was really at the top over the simple fact that north is where darkness came from. Second paragraph, you can find this particular information here. So it is something, a fact on which basis of which north was not put. So here says early maps did not put north at the top for following reason, to give reasons which were not applicable. This reason was applicable. This was actually one of the reasons why north wasn't placed at the top. A was a reason, so it is not the answer. Except is written. So we have to find something which was not a reason for north being at a top. South was favored by some emperors. No, this option, south was favored by some emperors, has nowhere been mentioned. Then comes C. East and south were more important for religious reasons for some civilization. East and south were more important for religious reasons for some civilizations. Okay, this has been said, yes, that if you look at this line says that east and south in the fourth paragraph, second but last paragraph, it has been said that east and the south were east and south were sort of preferred because east was preferred by Egyptians, then Christians maps preferred east, and Muslim maps preferred south. All right, so yeah, and east was considered by some civilizations to be a more positive direction. So yeah, this was also there that certain civilization, like we've read that that east was considered positive because it was like they mentioned here that the Egyptians thought the position of sunrise, Islamic said that south was important, then Christians put it at the again east as a direction because they thought that it is towards, because east is put east at the top towards the Garden of Eden, and Jerusalem was at the center. So basically, yes, even if you look at what Columbus is saying, somewhere it also makes sense that I'm going towards that Columbus says that he's going towards paradise. So his mentality is from a medieval Mappa Mundai. We've got to remember as Protestant that at the time no one knows what they are doing and where they were going. So this is how they were saying. And yeah, so next comes yeah. So yeah, and option number B, which you see, South was favored by some emperors. This was nowhere mentioned. So this is the reason, which is not the reason. It is not the reason why North was not selected, was not considered at place at the top. This is one of the reasons why this is one of the reasons which have not been mentioned behind the reasoning of not placing North at the top. This reason has nowhere been mentioned, that North was not placed at the top. B is the answer. So this was nowhere mentioned. So if you would have read the article actively once, it would have worked out for you. Let's come to the next question. According to the passage, early Chinese maps placed North at the top because. So North, remember why they placed North at the top? Remember why? We made a summary here. Remember why? Because Chinese, to give respect to the emperor, kept North at the top of the map. Yeah. So we can get an answer here. Yeah, A. Chinese invented compass and were aware of the magnetic north. This information is contrary to the information. Why? Because it is mentioned that the Chinese, early Chinese compasses were actually oriented to point south. So this is actually one thing, that it is inappropriate. And it is irrelevant. Nothing with respect to the magnetic north is concerned. Also, it is in a way, it is contrary, because Chinese compasses were always pointing towards the south, at least the early ones, right? Also, they are talking about Chinese maps. Here they are talking about Chinese compasses. So it's again, it is irrelevant or inconsistent in multiple ways. Right, so there can be many reasons why an option is incorrect. So this option also highlights that. Okay, let's expand this a little bit. Let's increase the size a little bit, bringing it to. C says the Chinese emperor appreciated the winds from the south. So Chinese emperor appreciated the winds from the south. This was never mentioned. It said that Chinese emperor faces south because the winds came from the southern direction. Okay, but Chinese emperor was placed since the Chinese emperor used to stay in the northern part of the country, North was always placed at the top of the map. So this again is incorrect from the data which is given in the passage. Chinese emperor faced the south because in Chinese culture the emperor looks south because it's where the winds come from. It's a good direction. North was considered the most desirable direction. No, North was not considered the most desirable direction. In fact, it was not a very good direction in a way. South was better. So Chinese used to, it was mentioned also. So this is again contrary to the information given. North is not very good, but you are in position to subjection to emperor. So you look up to him. So since emperor is at the says used to stay in the northern part of the Chinese country, and they were aware about it. Hence, North was placed at the top of the map. So North is not very good, but since you are looking up to the you're a subject of an empire, you have to look up to the emperor, and there is no way out. There is no other way they can do it. So that's the reason. So North was not considered the most desirable direction. In fact, South was better. Again, these contrary to the information mentioned. It is opposite to the information mentioned in the passage. So there were a lot of options here which were actually contrary to the information given. And they were in fact they were sort of going in the direct contravention of the ideas given. What is correct is B. They wanted to show respect to the emperor. This is the reason Chinese maps placed North at the top. It can be inferred from the passage that European explorers like Columbus and Magellan. So what can be inferred? Inferred is that by European explorers like Columbus and Magellan, that A set the precedent for a north up maps. No, they did not. This was completely mentioned that so here in the passage itself it says that, but in the last paragraph, but Broughton argues that these explorers didn't think of the world like that at all. We have mentioned in the summary also, even explorers like Columbus were not aware of two directions. He was also guided by the religious beliefs with respect to directions. P. Navigated by compass. So did European explorers like Columbus and Magellan navigated with respect with the compass? No, they did not. This information is nowhere mentioned. C. Use an eastward orientation for religious regions. Yes. So it was mentioned there that if you read it, it says in the last that Columbus says that he is going to paradise. So his mentality is coming from medieval map. He's not following the map actually, but the mentality, the belief system, the beliefs are coming from the Mappa Mundi, the old Christian maps. There the beliefs were coming from. So it is his belief. If you also they say here that Christian maps place east at the top towards the Garden of Eden. So Garden of Eden was at the top, and that's where the east was. Garden of Eden is sort of a paradise. It's a heaven where, you know. So in the Christian mythology, it's a biblical reference basically. So the option C is correct for used an eastward orientation for religious reasons. Next comes, which one of the following about the northern orientation of modern maps is asserted in the passage? Which of the following about the northern orientation of modern maps is asserted in the passage? Okay, modern maps. Have we ever discussed anything about modern maps thus far? No. We're talking about ancient maps. We are talking the last which we have spoken is the middle of the previous millennium, wherein we spoke about Columbus. So after Columbus, we have not discussed anything any modern than Columbus. Columbus is himself 600 years from now, or from now it happened, those incidents happened. So are we talking about modern maps? No, there is no information, right? So it's again a question which you could have marked directly option D. The biggest contributory factor is not stated in the passage. That was the answer. Or option could have been made like this, that the biggest contributory factor could not be determined, cannot be determined from the information given in the passage. It could have been given in that way as well. It may not have been this explicit, this direct. It may have been a little, dicey, that we cannot determine it. Here it is said that biggest contributory factor is not stated, so it's a little easy in a way. Sometimes cannot be determined will also come, and if you cannot find any information on any reference, you can confidently mark it. It again means not stated in the passage, cannot be inferred from the passage, cannot be determined, has to be marked if you cannot find something with respect to the data given in the passage. So northern orientation of modern maps, no information has been given. Let's still read ABC for our joy. The biggest contributory factor was understanding of magnetic north. This was nowhere mentioned. Magnetic north was nowhere mentioned in the passage. It was although mentioned, one of the wrong options in one of the questions, it was mentioned. The biggest contributory factor was the role of European explorers. No, European explorers' role has been discouraged. This idea has been debunked. This theory that European explorers brought clarity to the reference of directions, that the north should be placed upwards. This has been discouraged. This has been debunked, refuted in the last paragraph itself. The biggest contributory factor was the influence of Christian maps. No, Christian maps pointed out east towards the upper side of the map. On the top of the map was east, because that's where the Garden of Eden was placed, right? So C is also incorrect. Only D is correct. Biggest contributory factor was nowhere mentioned. We know the passage nowhere spoke about. The passage doesn't speak anywhere about what about the modern maps anywhere. All right. Next comes role of natural phenomena in influencing map making convention is seen most clearly in. So where was a natural phenomena mentioned when in influencing map making conventions? What was a natural phenomena? Natural phenomena was, if you remember, Egyptian. If you read the second last paragraph, it clearly says that, second line, in ancient Egyptian times, top of the world was east, the position of sunrise. So yeah, natural phenomena it's a universal truth. It is something which all believe. It's which we all agree to. It's a geographical natural phenomena which is sunrise. So this is Egyptian, and Egyptian thought, Egyptians use that. Hence early Egyptian map were influenced by map making conventions of natural phenomena. So natural phenomena influenced early map making conventions in the Egyptian culture. So it is seen in early Egyptian maps. True, A correct. B, Islamic map, no, because Islamic map said that look towards south, because cultures were north of the Mecca, the holy place for the Islam. Hence they look towards south. It is actually contrary to the information given. Chinese map. No, sorry. Yeah, sorry. So my bad. It's not about east or west or north. It's about the what was influencing. So Islam was influenced by basically their religious belief. They have to look towards the geographical position of the holy place, of the holiest place in Islam. Chinese were influenced by the cultural, by the monarchies, to sort of respect the monarchy, the king. So it is again a sort of a cultural thing in a way. You can say that it's a culture aspect of the Chinese culture, that they respected their emperor. So it is again not natural phenomena. Then comes Christians were again motivated by religious reasons. It appears that they place east at the top where the Garden of Eden was present. So only Egyptian culture, where map making convention said that east should be at the top, because the sun rises from the east. It's mentioned in the second last paragraph. So option number A. All right, so this is what I was trying to say, that we'll be solving everyday RCs. Come down 2 p.m. every day. Let's have fun. Let's discuss. Let's have great knowledge. We will bring in these small tricks for you to manage. And remember, we're doing a lot of hard work. Help yourself and help us as well by subscribing to An Academy. You get live classes, you can interact with educator, live board, leaderboard, test series. Apart from that, there are a lot of free aspects on the An Academy An Academy app. You get a lot of free classes, you get live classes, and you get free quiz also. So even if you do not, subscription comes at a later stage. We want you to subscribe, but there are a lot of things which we offer free as well. Apart from our YouTube learning, we have got free live classes and free quizzes as well. All right, so and you can ask questions also at times in the live classes also. So just imagine the kind of work which we're doing in the privilege section. When you sort of subscribe to An Academy, the kind of quality of work which you will get. So we get live classes, you get to interact with the educator, you get live polls, leaderboard, test series, and analysis, live doubt clearing sessions. And you also you can use my code Saxena10 to get 10%. All right, so thank you very much, everybody. Come down tomorrow at 9 a.m. for a live solving of jumbled paragraphs, and again 2 p.m. tomorrow for live solving of an CAT RC, and let's do it till Friday. And from Tuesday onwards, we will sort of bring in some new topics. Probably RC will continue, but we will take up say something like the odd one out or the best summary questions from CAT, and we'll keep on solving CAT actual questions. So thank you very much.